Three, two, one. Hello and welcome to episode 97 of Ruse Radio. We are back at it again with a very special guest. Special guest, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello. I go by Rabbi Dude when I do comedy, and when I do poetry, I am myself as Ethan Cohen.
Ethan Cohen. And sir, the Rabbi Dude, I guess you were just telling me right before kind of about getting into comedy and music. I think you were kind of talking about that. That'd be a good way to start the podcast.
Yeah. So we'll start with the traumatic event, you know.
All right. That's a great way to start anything.
So May 14th, I got T-boned about 45 miles an hour into my driver's side door. Door crumpled in, broke my ribs, gave me neck damage. I was, in a neck brace for months, and, it hurt to breathe. Everyone just kept saying the same thing. You're lucky to be alive. And I kept, brushing it off until, it really hit me that I am lucky to be alive. I'm lucky that I got what I have in this life, and I got to use it more. I shouldn't just sit on my ass and, not pursue what I need to pursue in life. So I had been told since I was a kid I should do comedy. And I never really believed them. I just was like, yeah, I guess I can make people laugh, but that doesn't mean I should do stand-up or anything. And I had been writing jokes, coming up with sketch comedy ideas for years and years. And then after that accident, I had been thinking about it a lot more. And then the Nabu told me about the open mic.
Nabu.
Oh, yeah. I mean, me and her, we've been good friends since high school. She'll tell you over and over again. It's the funniest thing to me that you make friends with someone in high school, you stop talking for years, and then you reconnect, and then you're seeing each other every week, you're hanging out, and you're back to being good buddies just like you used to, picking up right where you left off without missing a beat. It's a great thing. So,
yeah. I guess, it's an interesting thing how our relationships with people can change over time in ways we would never expect like that, right? Like, I'm sure in high school you never thought, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, this person's going to have a whole different role in my life.
Oh, yeah.
You can never even think of it that way because you wouldn't know. And then life plays out. To me, it's like the beauty of life in that way, and how you reconnect with people in such ways. And it's cool that that happened. So she kind of assisted you in finding it then, right?
Oh, yeah. So when she came to me with the open mic, I hadn't been able to go for a while. And then finally, I managed to get my kid's mom to have him on Tuesday nights, which is when the open mic is. And so I went to the open mic fully prepared to just read my sad poetry. And then we waited, we saw the first few guys, and this one guy, Khalil, goes up and just does the most awful, racist, sexist, terrible jokes, not even good in the 80s kind of jokes. And
he's trying to be a star, guys.
And it just pissed her off, my girlfriend off, so much that she had to confront him about it. And not only did she confront him about it, she got Nabu to kick him out of the open mic. He's no longer welcome because he was so threatening. And that was a win. But then the next couple comics went up, and they were just as sexist and racist and just not funny comedians like that. No offense to them, just to her,
Is it just what the jokes that they're making? Are they in bad taste? Because,
it's not.
I'm used to, edgelord humor. I'm used to people who are just, dude, I've been in Call of Duty lobbies. Okay, I've heard some crazy things. And so what I'm saying is, are they just taking that and putting that on a stage? Or are they being what are they trying to do? Are they trying to offend people?
Some of them, yes.
Yeah.
And some of them just don't understand it and think that they're doing something funny.
Right.
Like saying women are beholden to their dress sizes. And it's like...
That's a joke?
That's one of their jokes. And it's like, it's funny when I say it because I'm telling it in like this is a ridiculous joke to tell. But when they're trying to get up there and make that their whole bit, it's like, it's not a very funny bit, and it's really just trying to make women look dumb by like being beholden to the size of their dress and like trying to understand how it works. And I mean,
it's not very thoughtful.
It's just not. I mean, it's one of those, it's like, to me, Seinfeld. Mm-hmm. All of Seinfeld's comedy, his stand-up, is not funny anymore for two reasons. And one of them is Google exists. All of his thing was like, why is it that, airlines give you peanuts? You could Google it. They'll tell you.
Right. And you get the real answer.
You get a real answer.
You don't have to listen to a 10-minute bit.
Why do they put rubber bands on lobsters? What are they going to do?
By the way, your voices, you do voices, right? So
yeah.
The Seinfeld's pretty good. Your Seinfeld's not bad, man. Your Seinfeld is, most people can't really do a Seinfeld, and that's why it's good. Is like you can legitimately tell it's Seinfeld. I feel like if I were to try to do a Seinfeld, I can't even do it. I can't even do it. So I have to commend you for that one.
Oh, thank you. No, I've been doing voices since I was a kid. My parents called me the human parrot.
You know how I started with voices is I learned pretty early on I could do animal noises. And
oh, yeah?
I think it's all the same. Like when I'm talking, when I'm doing this, or when I'm doing music, I kind of use my voice a little differently because I can just tell. Your voice is like a thing. It's not like just a thing you use. Your voice can be molded and shaped, and you can use your voice. And so when you do animal noises, okay, if I'm making a cat sound,
yeah, let's hear it.
I'm using the same part of my voice I'm using now. I'm talking like, I would say it's somewhere in here. I don't even know what you call it. I just keep it in the back of my mouth.
Oh, let's hear your cat. Oh.
And then cats love it, dude.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Margot just came back and said, meow back.
Yeah. I speak with cats sometimes, yeah.
That's talent. See, I'm not as... I could do some animal noises, but I'm not as good, like... I got a pretty decent duck impression.
Okay.
Hey, yo, I'm a fucking duck. Quack, quack, bitch.
Dude, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, man.
No.
But for like New York construction worker, that was amazing.
No, thank you. No, that's a duck.
Hey, yo, I'm a fucking duck. What do you want from me?
Hey, yo, I'm walking here. Yeah.
Dude. That's like any duck if I've ever met one.
Oh,
that's like Donald Duck's disgruntled grandpa.
Oh, I can do Donald.
Yeah, man.
I mean, yeah, it's dumb, but...
No, dude, that's great.
I wish I could actually say words, but I could just, make noises.
You'll get there. Because, I mean, the problem is when you start saying words, you gotta, what do you, when you're doing that, how are you?
So it's like the right in the cheek, and it's like tongue in the cheek, like... All right, I'm going to annoy some people if I keep doing that.
It's impressive, dude. I wanted to do that one for so long. Oh, that's one of those things I wanted to do for so long. I've learned, most of the animal noises are all the same thing. They're all like if you were to do, I think, I can't do bird calls, but I've tried to do geese.
I can do this one water droplet sound. Drives people nuts because they all want to do it and no one can do it, no matter how hard I try to teach them. But
oh god, that's so good.
The cheek flick gets like the initial part, and then I'm blowing wind out of my mouth by just my tongue. Like I'm not exhaling, just.
Oh, I can't do that. I can't even whistle. Oh, dude, that's sick as fuck.
So
That's fucking awesome.
And it's
That's
real-
a party trick right there. That is a party trick that could blow minds, folks. Speaking of mind-blowing things, we got mind-blowing t-shirts, all right? Ruse identifies as a professional mind blower. If you support this podcast, please consider getting one of these shirts yourself. We're selling them for $25. It would be totally awesome way to support us, and it's just a sick shirt. So just think about it, put that in the back of your brain, let everybody know you're a professional mind blower. With that being said, let's hear more about how he came to find this beautiful sound.
Oh yeah, and the funniest thing is how I learned it was I was working. I was 15, and my coworkers and we would get blazed as fuck on the job because we were reckless, and don't do that. But we would then just hang out and hide in like a dark, like a shady area. And one time we were just chilling, relaxing, and one of the guys just, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And he got me with that over and over again for weeks. I couldn't figure it out until one day I turned to him as he was doing it, as he's flicking his cheek, and then he makes the sound, and I go, aha! And they all just started laughing at me. And they go, I wondered when you were going to catch on. I said, how did you do that? He told me exactly as I tell everyone else. No one else can get it. I picked it up in a day.
Wow.
I mean, it just makes sense to me sometimes,
Well, and so you just have always wanted to use your voice in that way, or what is that? Like, what compels you to even be able to do voices and to be able to do sounds? What do you think that is?
I don't know. Like, I just really enjoyed it when I was a kid. Like, I don't remember all the voices I would do when I was a kid, but I know that as I grew up, it was like, like, zoinks, man, I'm going to be Shaggy. Or, Ruh-roh, Raggy, roo.
You're pretty good at it, man.
Kermit the Frog jumps in there. Sometimes he has a little domestic dispute with Miss Piggy. Shut up, Kermit! I'm gonna kick your ass, Kermit! There she goes again. Crazy bitch.
I used to be able to do Kermit, but I think your Kermit's better than mine. Mine's like half Yoda.
Yeah, definitely closer to Yoda.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, it's not easy being green, Especially when people always think you're sick. But the only thing I'm sick is sick as fuck, yo.
Has anyone ever told you to like try to do voice acting? I'm sure you've heard that before.
Oh, it used to be one of my dreams, but as I realized that my voices are inconsistent, it sort of dropped off. Mm-hmm. But I figure, if it ever came about where someone asked me to do it for them, I wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah.
I it's just one of those things where I'm not going to go out of my way to pursue it to be told no.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what all acting gigs seem to be. It seems like you just suffer forever and get told no a million times until you get one good gig. That seems like how most actors are, which is just a sad life. I guess that's kind of comedy too. I guess that's kind of music.
It really
and
is.
Everything, but.
It really is. But that's why, like, my goal and pursuit in this, industry is not to like achieve some mass amount of fame and recognition. I literally just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And if somebody sees me and likes what I do and wants me to, do more or work with them, I'd love to. It's a passion more than it is a desire to make wealth. I enjoy hanging out. I enjoy doing my voices and telling jokes and writing poetry. And so if somebody wants to do that, if someone wants to make music or whatever, and they say, can you help me out? Can you come with? You got any ideas? I'm there, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the collaborative aspect of things always reminds me why I do things in the first place. I'm like, oh, yeah, like if I just did all of this by myself, the purpose is lost. But there's something about like people seeing it and seeing something in you, and that if someone asks me like, hey, what's your input on this? Immediately I'm like, oh damn, like they really want to know.
Oh,
They
yeah.
really want to know? Okay, I'll tell you. Like it makes me reinvigorated in such a way, I should say. Like, I like that a lot.
It's exciting when someone like appreciates you, you know?
And you can be a part of whatever they're doing too. Like that's cool.
So in that same aspect, you know, we all got to go out of our way to appreciate what we like. You know, I feel awkward sometimes, but if I see a dude and he's got some style I like, dudes don't ever get compliments like that.
Yeah.
So I go out of my way if I see a dude who's like doing something, you know. He's got a hat that you know he loves that hat because there's no other reason he'd be wearing that hat. And then you go, dude, I like your hat. And they light up.
Yep.
It's a good thing to do.
It's a great thing to do. And I think like it's easy to forget that you can make a difference with anything like that. Like that actually does make a difference. Like I mean if I go to the store and someone says to me they like my shirt, I'll always be like, oh, there's a shirt people like. Like that's,
Yeah.
You put that away in your brain. You're like, oh,
yeah.
people like this. Like, that's what you think.
It's like you said, the cologne I'm wearing today, it's one that I wear like in special occasions and like if I'm really feeling myself because I know it's a great smelling cologne, so it's
Today's gonna be a good day.
Exactly, and the scent memory, you know, when you remember something by the scent, it sticks with you.
Yeah.
And then you think about it every time you smell something similar. You think about that same thing, or you associate a person with it. And I realize that, and so I wear that. I wear a lot of colognes before, like I put some on before I give my son a hug and kiss before I drop him off at school or whatever. And and just for the sake of him remembering every day that I care and every day that I give my love to him, and that smell will keep that with him. So one day he'll smell that smell when maybe I'm not around, and he'll go, my dad used to wear this.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, man. That's true. That's smart. That's very smart. And that matters.
It does. You got to build those, you know, those memories up. You got to make connections and really get people in your life to remember you for the way that you want to be remembered, you know, and the impacts that you make by your decisions, you know. So it's like that. You decide, I want my son to remember me for loving him, and I want him to associate that with the smell.
That's a beautiful, small example of the choices we make in every moment. 'Cause that's like, to me, that's what finding God is. That's what finding religion is like an understanding in yourself that every moment I have a choice. And every moment I can make a difference with that choice if I choose to do it. Like, you're making a conscious decision to plant this memory in his head.
Exactly.
That's such a grand choice to make, and a lot of people wouldn't even. They would just be thinking, "I'm gonna hug my kid and walk away." You're thinking like, "He's gonna remember me. This is a moment forever." Like,
exactly.
It's just a beautiful thing because if you expand that into everything and all the choices you make ever, like to me, that's what good decision making is. It's like taking that type of thinking and thinking, how can I make a real positive difference right here, right now? That's what's really important. That's how can you positively impact people and things around you? Isn't that what purpose would be? Isn't that what a difference is in life?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I mean, you know, I think that's like the answer to existentialism. It's like to just make a choice in the moment and to just decide, like, am I going to suffer or am I going to give? You know, what do I want to be?
You know, it's a lot of the time we focus on what we can get out of life,
Yeah.
and not what we can put into it. And you got to be able to balance both for sure. It's when you can understand the ebb and flow of give, take, you know, and the Tao of it, you know, the yin yang, you really find the balance of life that keeps you grounded and humble. Because one day you're going to need help. And one day you're going to be in the position to help someone.
And the crazy part is you never know when that is.
Never.
You never know. And even when it's happening, you really realize it. It's usually like in retrospect. You're like, oh, I was the person helping in that moment. It's hard to know in the moment, like, what your role is in that situation. It's hard to tell because life's, it's not so simple a lot of the time.
No, like, have you ever had one of those experiences where it's just a passing moment? You said something like, oh, I like that. And then later they come to you and say, hey, when you said that to me, that stuck with me.
Well, you know, that's how we got on this whole topic, was saying, I like your shirt. Because it's the same thing. It's all the same choice. That's like the beautiful, that's why I thought what you said was such a beautiful example of it. Because it is as simple as like the telling someone, I like your shirt. Because that sticks with them. They think about that. And they think about that. And I said one day, because I was talking with a dentist, and the dentist was saying, wow, you're wise beyond your age, blah, 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 blah. And he's just like hyping me up, right?
Yeah,
He loved me. And so I told him that he reminds me of the inevitable butterfly effect of my character. That was how I put it. And I that's just such a good way to think about it, because that's what it was. I was just being myself, and he was giving me all this, and I'm like, oh, but that's the butterfly effect of every choice you ever make. Like, it's just the fact that I choose to be myself. That's probably what it was the fact that I made that choice, and I was cool with him, and he really liked that, and so we can have this open communication. A lot of people don't do that. They don't make that choice, and that choice makes a world of a difference if you're just involved. And so just being involved in that and looking at someone saying, hey, you have a nice hat on, that being involved can make a world of a difference that you would never understand. That person can take that ways they could have thought, oh, I fucking hate this hat. I've had this hat for 2 years. It's getting worn and torn down. Like, this doesn't look as good as when I first bought it. And then this guy says, oh, it's a cool hat. It's like, oh yeah, my hat is cool. But fuck all that. Like, oh,
absolutely.
It could be anything.
I have this one jacket, a duster from the 80s. It was my dad's, and I nabbed it out of his closet because I liked it. It's this long denim trench coat, jacket with a Sherpa wool inside. Warm, nice, but it's tattered to shit. And I just want to get it repaired, but everyone at my office can't stand it. They hate this jacket. They want it burned. And I love it. And one of the reasons why I love it so much is one day when I was wearing it, this Russian guy stopped me on the street and he goes, sir, I very much like your jacket. Can I take a picture of it for my girlfriend back in Russia? And I go, okay. He's like, she does fashion. This will be great for her. So somewhere in Russia, they're wearing that jacket, and I bet you it looks phenomenal.
That jacket had a whole future. It took a whole second life, dude. That's beautiful.
I mean, it's like, I guess I just got to go to Russia to be appreciated by it, but also, I don't want to go to Russia.
Imagine you like open up your phone one day and it's like a Russian fashion thing and you see your jacket. You're like,
oh, yeah.
And you can't even explain it to anybody.
I mean, it's just like you try and they're just like, yeah, right. You're the reason why these duster trench coats became popular in Russia.
You're like 80 years old. I'm telling you it was me.
I promise you.
It just sounds like your dementia kicking in again, but you're actually telling the truth. That's hilarious. Because, dude, that's the whole idea, is you really don't know. I think that's what art tells you, too. I think that's why art is so beautiful and comedy is a great thing. It's like often you have to be a little ahead of your time or think a little outside of the box to make good art and to make good comedy. And you have to generate a reaction in a way that people don't even know how to feel. That's usually the best spot to be, is when you're actually like walking that line. In all art, you have to find a way to do it. And I think what that speaks to is that difference you can make in people and that thinking you can plant in people and that way that your ideas carry on through the art form. To me, that's the purpose it gives me. That's why I love music. And that's why I love, like you said, about collaboration.
Yeah.
Like, I could show a song to somebody, and they could tell me, oh, this is what this song made me think. And I'm like, pfft. Like, I would have never thought the stuff they're saying when I was writing the song. But that's what it inspired in them. And it just reminds me, oh, yeah, like, it's not really about what I put on the paper. It's about what they're saying about it.
Absolutely. And that comes to me plugging my book.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because my poetry acts the same way as a vehicle for catharsis and knowing that you're not alone with being depressed and making of the poem what you will, connecting with whether it's one line or the entirety of it. There's always something that'll stand out, and you'll read it and you'll go, oh man, I guess I did feel that way, or oh, I never thought of it like that. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, I wrote some, amazing prophetic stuff, but no, it's literally the bottom of my heart, my deepest emotions, the saddest feelings of my heart put onto paper. And if you've ever been sad, if you've ever felt depressed at some point in your life, I feel like you would connect with something in this book.
So you showed me once how you write all these poems, and I was impressed. Like, you're literally, it's just when these ideas come to you, it's a note on your phone, and you have a big old list for like what each book's gonna be.
Yeah.
And you kind of write in a. So I wanted to say too, because we might as well say what the books are called, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like one's called Poetry from a Dude with Depression, one's called Poetry for Sad People or whatever. I wanted to say, like, I came to my, because you inspired me. I was like, oh, you told me about how Amazon Books works. And so I'm like, oh, that's how you self-publish now. You don't have to print a bunch of books. You just make the book, you put it on a website, and they print it for each sale. That's how you self-publish through these guys. That's basically how it was explained to me from you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't put anything down other than if you want to advertise for it or if you want to buy your own author copy or proof copy. And even then, when you're buying it for yourself, it's so much less than when you're selling it. Like, I was paying maybe about $3-4 for a book, and then like maybe $6 of tax or something in shipping.
Oh,
like
wow.
6 with tax and shipping, not $6 of tax. That would be nuts. But yeah, like shipping cost and tax, and then $3 to buy your book, and
Doubles the price, basically.
yeah, you pay like $6 for a book that you value at like $12-13.
Okay, and so when that happens, and you have to do that when you sell it to people too, they have to pay the shipping at the very least.
Oh yeah, though I'm sure they got to pay shipping when you buy the book online. Unless you got Amazon Prime, then you might get it for free. But
yeah. I just wonder how, like, because if you were to sell stuff through, I noticed if you do not Ticketmaster, I think it's Eventbrite, you could sell tickets for $2. But then their fee is $2. So again, it doubles the price. Why would I buy a ticket on Eventbrite for $4? $2 ticket. It doesn't even make sense. And so, but I get it if it's like a book and it's a cheap book and you're doing it that way. That's fun. What I was going to say is that gave me the idea, okay, so if you can do that, maybe then what would be good is to take, because I'm trying to think, how do I commodify what I'm doing? I'm not making money as a musician, not through streams, not yet at the very least. So how can I do that? I need to make shirts, I need to make merch, and then books. You enlightened me. I was like, oh, I could put like lyrics in a book and call that a lyric book. Or my dad said to me, I was sitting with him and I was telling him like, hey, this is what this guy does, this is what I was thinking I could do. And then he said, oh, well, you could theme them, like write a love poems. And then it clicked in my brain. I was like, oh, he already is doing that. He themes them, and it adds another layer of appeal. Because it's like, somebody's going to see that, and they're going to think Poetry from a Dude with Depression. Oh, okay. So these are poetries for like depressed people. I'm a depressed person, and that gets them to take a look at your poetry. It's a smart way to do it. Yeah.
And I mean, I try to be kind of tongue-in-cheek, a little goofy with it. You know, the book is called Poetry for Sad People or whatever. So, because like, it's apathetic. You know, it's supposed to be attracting that, you know, apathetic goth kind of community. And then like I got a smaller one where it's a little more poetry for sad people and stuff.
It's our travel size book.
It's a little travel size book. It's like 75 poems or so, a little under 80 poems. Really tiny text, so if you need glasses, it might be hard, but you know, it's it's a joke. It's kind of a joke with it. But the other book is a bunch of poems for sad people and 2 silly ones, where just like the book implies, there's a couple silly poems in there just to lighten the mood.
Yeah, you're flipping through the book and all of a sudden it's, I'm a fucking duck. Just out of nowhere.
Hey, yo, it's a fucking duck. No. And I got 2 of them would be like, there's one, Wacky Jacky Mackey, and then another one, Grandma's Banana Jam. You know, my son helped me come up with Grandma's Banana Jam, so he gets a little credit on that one.
You better get royalties.
Oh, he gets paid, no worries.
Yeah.
And then once gets to December, we got the big sad book.
Oh my God, we got a hardcover.
We got a hardcover. It is every poem from 2024 that I've published in one beautiful hardcover book.
Wow.
Over 400 poems. It is a lot.
This is awesome.
The fun thing with this series is that there are no page numbers in these books because it's not really meant for you to read it from cover to cover. You're supposed to flip through the book, find the poem of the day, basically. And if you really connect with one, I suggest investing in a bookmark.
I was going to say, like, it's actually kind of smart in that they would have to memorize the name of the poem. They'd have to be like, that one I really liked was called this. They can't memorize the number. They have to memorize the name of the poem. Only when I find ID versus ego do I know is my favorite one.
Oh, yeah. Id versus ego.
Id versus ego.
Yes. You know about the ego and the id? We were talking Freud earlier.
Yes. Well, dude, I am of the firm belief that the subconscious is one of those things where, like, people like Freud and people like, I forget his name sometimes. I'm always ashamed when I do. I'm forgetting it right now. It was Freud and then the other guy who really studied the subconscious. Forever young like Carl. I said in the song, Forever Young Like Carl, and that's such a great line. But Carl Jung, that's who it is.
Carl Jung.
So Carl Jung is, dude, I would say I like Carl Jung more than Freud even, in that he observed, like, he went even deeper than Freud on dreams and the way that symbols represent things to people. Because truly, that's what I think everything is.
Yeah.
I think everything is your subconscious. I think that if people thought that way more often, you'd have a more enlightened world. People don't realize how deep everything goes in your brain. It's not so surface value.
And the thing with
that's
dreams,
what Buddhism teaches you.
Oh, yeah. And, yeah, I follow Dudeism, actually, which is like an offshoot of Taoism, but it's like with a lot more weed.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a spicier version anyway.
It's got
more appealing.
It's got like 12 steps. It's like a 12-step program at the same time, but not really. Like, hold on. There's 12 tenets of Dudeism.
All right.
I'm not going to read.
Pull that up.
Yeah, I won't read the whole thing, but it's the 12 steps or 12 tenets are: admit the whole world has gone crazy. Believe there is a dude way to the universe. 3 is be determined to follow the dude way and follow it further down the trail.
The dude way.
4 is what is the meaning, Lebowski? It's down there somewhere. Take a look. Say fuck it, and that's your answer to everything. Take long baths and meditate on your rug. What in God's holy name are they blathering about? That's just like their opinions, man. Be dude to everyone you meet. My favorite one, be there, man. That's just about being present with your friends. Show up when they want you there. That's why I'm here today. Be there, man. You know, you invited me. I want to be there. You know, stop making illiteral connections. You know, adhere to a strict drug regimen and keep your mind limber. And my favorite one, which is what I'm doing now, is spread the dude word.
Let's take a quick pee break on that one. We were talking about Dudeism.
We were.
You're telling me about Dudeism. So with Dudeism, when it comes to that, you don't sound like you're joking. You sound like you really subscribe to this.
I am dead serious. This is a philosophy in life that once I came across it, I connected so deeply with it. I said, wow, this is more than just my favorite movie, you know, Big Lebowski. This is more than just my favorite movie. The meaning behind it, the foundations of the religion that they came up with in regards to it, the philosophy and everything behind it. Mm-hmm. It's truly remarkable how much it aligned with my already, the values I already had. Come here, buddy.
Oscar, come on. Go out here for a minute.
I'm an animal magnet.
Sorry about that. This guy's a dog magnet, guys.
I mean, just animals in general. I'm like a Disney princess.
It's beautiful, man.
Oh, I mean, honestly, like animals just walk up to me. I've had squirrels, chipmunks, geese, ducks, random birds. I'll have a bird land on my shoulder sometimes. It's just the Disney princess in me.
When this happens to you, you never are like, oh damn, like this raccoon's walking right up to me. You get excited?
Oh, thankfully it's nothing that's like got rabies or nothing.
Possum.
Yeah, possum don't have rabies actually. Possums are pretty clean.
What has rabies? Bats.
Oh, raccoons, bats. But possums are safe.
Okay.
Yeah, possums are safe. People just give them such a bad rap because they're kind of ugly,
Well,
they're like they're
scary.
They're doing that because they're scared.
I know, but it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like it's like one of those things you see and you're like, ah! It's like a spider.
But if you've ever seen like one of them where they're not scared, they're kind of cute. They got them stupid big eyes where they're just like,
they're kind of cute. They look kind of like similar to how it's not a mouse, but a ferret. How a ferret looks like a long mouse.
Yeah,
Possum's kind of like a fat long mouse.
Yeah, it's like to me, it's like a cross between a cat and a mouse.
Yeah. If you had like a tame possum that was like sweet and domesticated, and it came from like a line of domesticated possi, I bet it would
a posse.
A posse.
Possum
I think
posse.
the plural of possum is possi. I think I'm guessing correctly.
I'm pretty sure it's possums, but who knows?
Who knows, man? It may. That's a good. If we had a guy sitting over there, he'd be Googling it right now.
Oh yeah.
But I did want to ask you more about Dudeism, so I don't want to lose that, because the Dudeism is an interesting thing. Dudeism makes me think like. So like with ChatGPT, one thing I've learned I can do is like I could put in anything and I could say like make a religion out of this, make a whatever out of this.
Oh,
It makes me think like if I were to go on ChatGPT and type in like, hey, The Big Lebowski, like make a religion out of this movie. That's probably exactly what it would come up with, something like that. It's a great idea actually. It's like, how do you take the philosophy of this laid back guy and make it a way of life? And it what's fun about it is that it seems to be not so subtly, obviously connecting with the Buddhist principles and these ideas of arti, Taoism.
Taoism specifically.
Tell me about what distinguishes Taoism from Buddhism, because I only really know about Zen Buddhism. That was my introduction, and I just identified with that a lot.
I'm not going to bullshit you. I don't know too much Buddhism to make the comparison. I just know for Taoism, it's all about the give and take. It's about the balance of the worlds, of not necessarily good and evil, but light and dark, the joy and the sadness. All of it is intertwined and mixed with each other, and it balances life. The karma of it all, and that's like the foundations of Taoism. I'm hoping I'm getting it right. I'm mainly just like Wikipedia search from.
So it's like dualism, like Taoism, like dualism. Like there's these two opposing things, and it's within it, kind of like what yin and yang is supposed to represent. It's focused on that. Okay, because I think. That's what's funny about that is when I was reading about philosophy and like what Plato is laying out, it's literally so similar. That's what he was saying in a way, and I think he was inspired by Taoism probably in ways. Is like this idea of there's a middle ground between these two things. There's like bottom, a top, and then the middle ground, and the best place to be is in the middle. And that's like where just that concept that the dualism is there and you need to find a middle ground. And it's always about finding that. And that's the duality of life. Like I think when Zen Buddhism is describing finding Zen Buddhism in that moment of Zen, what they're really saying is that having that duality form a whole and feeling that in the moment, feeling the whole of the duality. And it's hard to communicate what that even is.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, finding your Zen is I feel like the ultimate goal of just being able to be calm and not overwhelmed with life in all of its crazy chaoticness.
Yeah.
Going to the grocery store even, it's such a chaotic experience. There's a bunch of other people that you're fighting with to get the same things. You're trying to get out. You're all trying to get your stuff and get out, but you're in each other's way. The fluorescent lighting is making sounds at you that you don't even notice. The lighting is in your eyes, making you uncomfortable. You can't find the thing that you're looking for right away because it's in the different aisle from the one that you thought it would be in. Yeah. And then on top of all of that, you just remembered you needed toilet paper. And now you got to go to a whole different section to get the toilet paper. You get the toilet paper. You realize you needed something. There's so much where you're overwhelmed with information. And eventually, if you're not, ready for it, or you're too in tune with yourself to be able to block it out, it's maddening. Just going to the grocery store when you focus on everything is maddening.
Yeah. So what do you do to combat that?
I mean, personally, I just get really fucking high. But
to me, that makes it more maddening. To me, it's like then I realize the implications of everything.
Oh, yeah. No,
like I'm actually better off sober.
Oh, shit. For me, it adds a good layer of fuck it.
Wow, I'm jealous because I think I go the opposite direction. My mind's like it's like a mental challenge for me to go to the store when I'm that high. I'm like, all right, here we fucking go. I'm going to war.
Oh yeah, a lot of some people, they get overwhelmed with their thoughts when they're high. Me, I get the bliss of not having my thoughts overwhelmed.
The Dudeism comes out.
Exactly, that's the mental limber. You gotta train your mind to be able to accept things as they are. And for me, when I'm high, when I have a little weed in me, it helps me accept things as they are a lot easier.
Wow. Well, I would say that that's, again, part of like finding a Zen. I think people can achieve whatever you want to call that state of a blissfulness in many different ways. And that's why I just, I would always want to encourage people to like find what that is for them in their own way. That's what I always try to say is like, what is it that makes you you? Like once you figure that out, you feel a lot more at peace with yourself. And that's a constant thing though. It's not like you figure it out once. That's one thing I was thinking, like, I'm trying to write these essays. And
Yeah.
so I try to come up with a good concept before I even try to write it. And so the idea would be like, what's a good enough idea? And one time I thought like, because it's related to Buddhism, it was Enlightenment is no utopia. That's what it is. And the idea is like, the concept of a utopia is that you're going to have this perfect state, and then that perfect state comes around and everything's perfect. And that concept alone is just, on the face of it, it's impossible, because you can't have that anywhere. Yeah, and that's what enlightenment in Buddhism is telling you. It's saying when you achieve enlightenment, and when you achieve the state of Zen and the state of whatever, it's a passing thing. It comes and then it goes, and you just achieve it for a moment, and it's a constant trying to achieve that. That's what it always is. It's trying to tell you it never, ever ends. And so, like, it's again about, like, what we were saying earlier, about how life's a constant choice. It's always a choice to do it. And it's like duality. It's the Zen of it. You either go this way, or you can ride it out and be in the middle. Like life, you can always choose to ride the wave of life if you really want, and try to achieve that.
Exactly. Life moves better when you move with the flow of it.
Yeah.
But
you have to find what that is for you, because it's
exactly
different. Yeah.
You gotta. So like, for me, it's like once you get into a good routine, you're there. You're moving with the flow of your life. When shit hits the fan and you end up in a car wreck and you're there now, the flow of life is you're hurt, you need to recover, lean into it, do what you need to do to get better. Take your meds, do your stretches, practice breathing, all of the steps to recovery, the physical therapy, the flow of life takes you there to get better. You have obstacles in your way, and how you navigate through them is simply about looking in every direction. You hit the roadblock of not being able to focus. I found Adderall. You hit the roadblock of being too depressed. You find your medication, you find your exercise, you find the things that help you get out of that funk, and it takes you on this path that is your new path that you just keep following.
Yeah. And that path presents itself in this strange way, as you're saying. It just kind of happens.
It does.
You ride the wave of it. Yeah.
It's why I'm doing comedy. It's why I'm writing books. I got another one I'm hopefully coming out with next year. A children's book, actually.
All right.
It's going to be a third alter ego, Mr. E. It's Mr. E's silly poetry, and or Mr. E's silly stories. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're getting silly.
Oh yeah, I mean, in one of them, I'm not going to give too much away, but in one of the poems, chinchillas fight Godzilla.
That's like it's one of the most epic battles I can ever imagine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is done. This poem is finished.
Absolutely.
Done? I mean, can you guarantee it's an epic story?
I mean, it's not. These aren't long stories.
Okay.
They're not like Iliad or Odyssey or nothing like that. These are small, digestible things for children.
Okay.
But once there's illustrations to it, picture's worth 1,000 words.
How are you doing the illustrations? Do you know?
So hopefully, I'm hoping my girlfriend can help me out on that. I may end up paying some other illustrators if I can find them.
Nice.
But
that's cool. That sounds like a fun little project.
Oh yeah.
Because that's a legit kid's book. I mean, if you drop it as a kid's book, that's a whole different. You've never made that before, I imagine.
No, I've done 2 kids' books, actually.
One
of them's a little bit more of like a preteen teenager book called Based on a Poo Story.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a shit joke. It's a whole thing's a poop joke, butt joke, about butt that wants to be friends with poop. And then I love it. And then he gets a little dingleberry stuck to him.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Best part of the story is when the toilet paper angel shoots the turd with a Glock. You know,
Yeah, man.
you never see it coming.
Well, how could you?
No. But when it happens, you'll be like, oh shit. Literally.
Dude, you can buy this now? People can
Oh,
find
it's
this?
only on Kindle because I couldn't get it. It's not long enough to be published on like paperback or hardcover or nothing like that.
It's a
Through
Kindle
Amazon.
exclusive.
It is. And then the other Kindle exclusive I got is called Little Dog and the Big Red Chair. That one is definitely for all ages. That one's about my dog I was telling you about. He had a big red chair that he loved.
Okay.
And he loses the chair because his room's too messy.
Okay.
And he looks all over the world, in space, in the ocean, in the mountains, he's in the jungle. He's looking everywhere for this chair. Can't find it. Finally, he remembers something, and he goes home. He cleans up his apartment, his little room, and he finds his chair. And he's happy again.
Beautiful.
And, it's one of those things. It makes kids think, oh, if I clean up, I'll find the thing I'm looking for.
Nice. How long's the book? Just like 30 pages?
Not even. It's a like 15-page little thing. Another one on Kindle. Nice little short bedtime story so parents don't get overwhelmed with reading a novel to their kid before bed.
Right. And do you plan on making a lot of these? Like, is this like a thing you want to keep doing?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll do what I can, but like this was a hard project to do because I'm so used to sad shit. But
it's kind of a challenge, yeah.
I can give a taste of what's in the kids' book because that one's coming out in a while. You'll forget about it by then.
Okay.
But this one's Johnny's grandpa.
Okay.
Johnny's grandpa was a karate legend. He could throw a punch in 1/10 of a second. Breaking boards with only his pinky, he could smash cinder blocks without even thinking. He's beaten everyone he's ever sparred. No one could break his impenetrable guard. He would block kicks and dodge punches. He's even won matches while on crutches. Johnny's grandpa was the best of the best, but there was only one person who could contest. Who was the only one who could beat Johnny's grandpa? Well, it was none other than Johnny's grandma. Oh, yeah.
That's
Johnny's
great.
grandma can throw hands.
I believe it. I believe it. And how fast do you write something like that?
It takes me anywhere between a day and 30 seconds.
It's variable.
It's variable. If I got a good flow going or a good idea, I'll have it down real quick. But if it's something where I just have the beginning of the idea, it takes a while and I got to keep fleshing it out.
Yeah. Because I feel like it's hard to pinpoint what that is, I guess. Like, it's always a different creative process. I think as long as there's an idea behind it, that's where the inspiration is. Like, you have to wait for the good idea. It's like what we said about riding the flow of life. I think, like, when I write music, it's an interesting thing because it's always about catching the idea. It's about finding what's the most solid thing here. What is here? Because it just comes to me when it's there, and that's what it was. It's like, oh, it was always there in a weird way. Like, I just found it. Like, that's kind of how it feels. And so I feel like a great story is that. Like, a great story with a great value. You hear it, you're like, it just makes sense.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, when you get good ideas that start coming to you, just got to start writing it down.
Yeah, and that's a big step for a lot of people, though. And
with having access to a notes app on your phone, I mean, it's never been easier to just write down a thought.
And it's so valuable to do so. Like, I've tried. That's why when I said about essays and writing essays, I've tried to. I'm slacking on it. I need to do it more because when you do it, it even just trains your brain a little bit to like focus on concepts and ideas and think about things in a certain way. Like, just pick a topic and write about it and write a good amount about it, and that does a lot for you. Like, just that. because I think it's all about training your brain. And like it works for different things. Like that's why people say journaling, like write out your ideas in a journal every night, like just what you did that day or how you feel about something. And so that's why I feel like it's because you need to put the ideas down. And that's why I said like it's a step for a lot of people, because people don't put their ideas anywhere. Everybody thinks they do because they have phones and they just type things on social media, but that's so different than like writing a personal, intimate thing.
Yeah, it just goes into the ether, you know.
Exactly.
Make a tweet, a couple people see it, it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. And that's kind of the idea of it. That's why social media bothers me in this strange way, because I feel like I think in this way with art where it's like I want my art to live on forever. I want these things I do to have this impact. But like with the way that you're supposed to post your ideas and the way you're supposed to post things and the way these algorithms work, I'll post a video and I can count on the fact that it's going to get a bunch of views right after it's posted, and then it's just going to wither away. Like every single post, that's what it is. It's like the lifespan of the post is 3 days.
Essentially, yeah. Everything's so quick right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, if you can manage to get a trend going, that can live on for months, years even, which is nuts.
You need to establish yourself in this way. That's different than before. Because it has to be the best trends and the best all that. I think it has to come from a creative place, a state of mind. Like really, you have to innovate in this way. You kind of have to, or at least ride that wave of life and find whatever that spot is that you can come in and capitalize on that. Like Rick Rubin has said about ideas, that it's like nobody really has ideas. We just, the cultural zeitgeist kind of hits us in the right way at the right time, and that's where the idea comes from. Yeah. It's a cool way to think about it. It's like the ideas have you. You don't have the ideas, you know?
Oh,
and that's kind of what it is. Like, and that's why a good idea is a good idea, because it hits at the right time. It's like, you know, Nirvana in the 90s. Nirvana can't be Nirvana in the 2010s. It doesn't exist. It has to be at the late 90s. And like the Beatles in the 60s, they had to exist at that time. It's interesting. And so sometimes I think about that, like maybe I am great, maybe I am talented, maybe what I'm doing is working. It's just that I haven't hit at the right place at the right time. And when that happens, it'll all make sense. That's how it's supposed to go.
I got a poem about that in my book, Poetry from a Dude with Depression, about, you know, what it's like trying to be an influencer, and where you got all this talent, but nobody will see it yet.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, so many artists, the art gets better in time. So many things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hopefully, you know, it gets better with time. There's always some artists where they got their biggest moment at the beginning, and then they fall off because they don't have any other ideas.
I meant like the art that exists, that sits in the picture, the video that exists on the screen, ages over time. It's like a good song. You hear it 20 years later, and it's different than when it first came out. But it's a whole different thing with like, there's so much psychology that must go into that. Because, you know, especially now, because now, like we said about like I like to think of it like of the transience of the present moment. Like, the way that you have to capture people for just a quick amount of time and then it's gone. Like, it's so much more present than ever because that's how social media works. And so people, if one idea hits and one thing works, they start only doing that and they make themselves that trend. And I feel like that's the wrong thing to do, because you were being creative when you came up with that in the first place. Like, you should keep trying to challenge yourself and come up with new things and not give into that. Like, if I have one video where I shake my ass and it gets 100,000 views, I can't become the rapper that shakes his ass. I can't do that.
No. But sometimes it works for you. Like Haktua Girl?
Yes.
She has like the biggest podcast of all time just because she said Haktua, spit on that thing.
I think it's that, you know what's so funny about her is I think people say that, but if she had a bad personality, I don't think it would have worked as well. No. I think her personality actually is a big part of it, because she actually is a likable person.
No,
and that worked in her favor.
I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve her recognition. I'm saying that being at the right place at the right time, having the right person see your video, is more important than having people just see it. Like you could have a bunch of people see it, but if the right person sees it, that's when you get your fame, your recognition, your,
Right.
whatever it is that you've been going for in life. When the right person sees it, not just everybody. You can get masses, but then no one. But at the same time, if none of the masses can do anything for you or don't have the ability to take you to the place that you need to go, then, it's not reaching the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a certain amount of accountability in that balance too, though. It's because I think you could take all that and then say, well, it's not on me, it's on the universe. But I think at a certain point you have to like imagine too, well, how could I do this better? Like that's the other hard part of the whole thing. And I'm sure like comedy's like that in real time on a stage.
Oh, I mean, you sometimes you tell a joke and it bombs, one of the things I've been doing is constantly changing my jokes week to week so that I can see what works, what doesn't, and eventually put together a set that's only the jokes that I knew worked.
I heard somebody say not too long ago that there was somebody they see on stage all the time, and they always kind of bomb at these open mics, but when they do a performance, they're always great. And like every time, like they'll bomb at an open mic, and then at the performance, they're so good. Like they have this refined act. And it's probably exactly the method you just described. They're trying new stuff constantly, and then they're just taking notes of those little things that worked and then string all that together into one refined product, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed that I've got some good stories to tell. Mm-hmm. And I've got some good one-liners, but, some of my, longer themed jokes, they don't land as well, and some of them are just, they're just not that funny. I'll admit it.
Yeah. But you got to try it to see.
I got one, I'm really not proud of it. I'm really not proud of it.
Let's hear it. You set it up. We got to hear it now.
All right. If Jake Peta's listening, forgive me. No, I'm going to get canceled. I don't want to get
Jake
canceled.
Peta can't even hear this right now. We're all good.
You know what you get when you cross, or when you fuse Helen Keller and Skeletor from He-Man? You get Helen Skeletor. Until next time, He-Man.
That was with the impressions. You had colorful names for all the impressions.
Oh,
too.
Yeah.
It's a fun part of the impression build.
It's like I like to, I tell on stage. I like to do. I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, so I like to imagine people fused and what they would be like. Dick Cheney, John Mulaney is one of them. Cheney Mulaney. I couldn't have done 9/11. I was over there on the bench.
Beautiful.
Yeah. My favorite one of all time, though, is Jason Momoa and Rocky Balboa to make Momoa Balboa. Hey, Adrian, it's me, Aquaman. I'm going to go save the fishes.
So you just cook these up sometimes when you're alone? You're just like, how could I possibly...
I think of names and things that go together that could be a funny concept, and if I can do an impression, that makes it all the better.
Yeah.
I can't always do an impression like Louis C.K. and Casey Anthony make KCCK, or what, yes, what, which is, a little Spanish pun. It's cute. It's not necessarily like a big, punch comedy, but it's a cute little zinger. You could tell that one to your grandma.
Yeah, shout out to the seniors in the audience.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Although your grandma might not know who Casey Anthony is, so you could pick a different Casey if you know one.
I don't know. Grandmas are pretty hip now, man. Grandmas are pretty cool. They're pretty, like, in with the times. I don't know about your grandma, but, like, grandmas have cell phones and shit.
That's true. My grandma loses her cell phone. She's, like, 96 years old. No, she's 95. Healthy as can be. She's nuts. She walks around. She takes care of herself. Independent living. And the only thing is she's like got her fading memory,
Ah, well.
but she remembers everything that happens with my son. Anything that happens with him, she remembers that. Any story, everything, because that was her first great grandchild, and now she's obsessed. I mean, she's got 2 other great grandkids, but I guess mine's the favorite.
First one.
First one's the favorite.
Broke the seal.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that must be exciting to be a great grandparent, especially at that age, too. Wow. I mean, that's crazy. That's another thing, like, in life you would never expect. Like, you gotta wait till 90 to be a great grandparent. That would be a crazy trip. Like, damn, I had kids that had kids that had kids.
I mean, honestly. And then to just see how your family just expanded outward so much.
Exactly.
Is it's really something to behold.
Yeah.
Just for me, even having my brother have 2 kids is, I never imagined him having kids.
Yeah.
But now I can't imagine life without my nephews. They're the best.
Yeah. And you could never, because they're like a part of you in this way too. They become a part of you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like a weird outgrowth of you.
and being favorite uncle, it puts a lot of weight on your shoulders to continue being favorite uncle.
Yeah, that's something you got to uphold.
Oh yeah.
How do you stay the favorite uncle? What are your methods?
Oh, I play.
Yeah.
I play really good. Kids love to wrestle. And we wrestle. We play with some toys, some video games, Spider-Man.
How old are they?
Older one is 7. The younger one is 3.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, so we're playing video games, we're wrestling.
Oh, yeah. Roblox is big with them right now. I wish I knew more about Roblox, but I just stand next to them and go like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, the thing. Yeah.
You're doing good enough. You don't got to do too much more than that, honestly.
All you got to do is be there and listen to them when they're talking to you. You don't even have to retain almost any of the knowledge. But as long as you're there when they're talking to you, you're being a great parent.
Yeah. Really. Because, like, most kids, most anybody in the world, everybody, you just have to... One of the best lessons I've ever learned in life is it's not even really about what you say. It's about the questions you ask. It's about what you respond with, and that's what works. It's like that's what makes you a good person to talk to, and that's with kids especially. It's like if you just ask a kid, like, oh, why do you like this? Like, what do you like about this? Oh, that's cool. Like, what do you do there? Like, they're playing a game. You say, oh, how do you play this? They want to tell you. They'll tell you how they play it. Like, they want to answer your question. And that's how most people are all the time.
And they'll always say the most hilarious thing, too.
Yeah.
When
kids are funny.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Because they haven't fully socially developed yet. So you see those little malfunctions.
They'll speak their mind without hesitation, and they'll just say some of the best lines that you'll hear as a parent. Like, we were talking, because I told them I'm going on the podcast today. And my girlfriend's like, we could do our own podcast. And he goes, hey, I didn't sign up to be a podcaster.
He said that?
Oh, yeah. He's like, I didn't sign up to be a podcaster.
Oh, dude, he's designed for a podcast already.
He just wants to go on YouTube. I'm like, what do you want to do on YouTube? He's like, just play with his toys? I don't know. Play video games?
Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, like, the kid YouTube market's crazy. He probably sees these kids on YouTube getting millions of views. He's like, that could be me.
Oh,
that
yeah.
could be me right now. I have toys. I have toys, too. I could do toy reviews. Because, dude, the kids see that. They see that. When I was a kid, that's probably what got me started with most of this stuff. I remember seeing YouTube videos in, like, 2009, and, like, it was just people with cameras making videos that had 100,000 views. Was viral at that time. So it's like, wow, this guy got 100,000 views? I could be famous. Like, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That could be me. And not, like, famous, like, I want to be famous just so I can be famous, but, like, I was thinking, wow, like, YouTube, I could use the internet to get people to recognize what I do. That's probably what got the seed planted of like, oh, so I can do things and people will see what I do. It must have been a whole different world before that, because that's a whole different thing. The internet changed that. And so I'm sure kids see that now, and it's like, no wonder your son would love to be a YouTuber. Of course.
Oh, of course.
Of course. That's only gotten bigger.
And I just tell them, YouTuber is a side job. You have a real job, and you do YouTube on the side, because you'll blow up when you blow up, but until then, have a little something going for yourself.
That's good advice for a 6-year-old, not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to hear it. Because that's the thing is, like, especially now, it used to be, because again, the numbers were so much lower. You got to have, now you have to have it used to be way lower, whatever this number is. Now it's 1,000 subscribers, and I think like 100,000 hours of watch time. Maybe it's 10,000 hours of watch time a month. So that means you have to have people watch at least 10,000 hours of your video and 1,000 subscribers, and then you can get monetized. And that's a big thing to do.
I know on TikTok it's like 10K subscribers.
And then watch time. Because you'd think it's just that number, but it's actually like a whole other... watch time's harder than that number, because you have to get people to actually watch through your shit. And that's why it's one thing that makes it worse, because this becomes a market of like people stretching out shit for a whole minute when they could have just done a 10-second video.
Yeah.
People don't earn it. Comedy is kind of nice because you can have like a long 60-second set, and people probably would sit through that whole thing. So you probably can get people for a good amount of watch time on comedy. That's why the podcast videos do well. People are actually interested in like listening to what people are saying for 30 seconds. It's like, what is he talking about here?
Who's your favorite comedian right now?
That's a good question. I would say either Mark Norman or Shane Gillis. I like the way that they do comedy a lot, because I think Mark Norman's really like rapid fire, and he's just really, really good at just coming up with stuff on the spot, and it kind of demonstrates the art form of comedy in a nice way. Like he's really a pure comedian, and he's really good at just going on the spot. And I think that's really impressive. Like he'll literally have, crowd work's one thing, but to have like people throw topics and you're just making a great one-liner on a topic that someone just gave you in the audience almost every time. Oh, yeah. It shows how comedy's kind of like a muscle, and he's just one of those people that absorbs himself in it. It inspires me. And so Shane Gillis for a different reason, because I think Shane Gillis is just so casual. He sounds like a dude you would just drink a beer with, and he makes that his whole thing. It's genius. It's so good as just being yourself and then taking that to a stage. So those people, I like Theo Von a lot too. Theo Von I've liked for so long because
he's kind of funny. Yeah,
I just think again he's just being himself, and like you can tell he might be playing into it, but he really is just that guy, and he's found a way to capitalize on who he is, and that's impressive. So
the correct answer was Rabbi Dude.
We gotta end the podcast now, guys.
I'm
joking.
About
to beat me up.
No, I joke, I kid.
You're only joking, okay? I get you, bro.
but in the reality, no, there's so many good comics out there, but for me, right now, my absolute favorite is this guy, Casey Rocket. I've seen him on Kill Tony. He's got this like schizophrenic crackhead bit that is just, I can't get enough of it. Like, have you ever just seen someone who's just on the street talking to themselves, saying the most random shit, and you're just watching them, and it's like, God damn, they're entertaining.
For anyone who's never lived in a major city, this is like the general major city experience. In America, you're going to see this in any major city you go into at least once.
You'll find them on the train.
They're everywhere.
You'll find them on the street corner. But if they're talking and just, I got to get out of here. I got to go to my quinceañera, like... Biden's trying to drone strike me right now. I got to keep moving. Biden's trying to hit a drone strike on me. He says shit like that, and I'm just like, oh man, how does he keep going so rapid fire with the like? Because it's a bit. He's doing a bit. It's not real. That's not who he is. But the bit is so good.
So this reminds me, dude, I forgot about this. I was sitting on the train coming home one day, And, I'm coming home around like 11 p.m. Red line's a little different at 11 p.m. than 6 p.m. All right, I've learned to sit in the front. So I'm sitting in the middle, right? And somewhere on the train, and this guy comes up to me, he's smoking a cigarette, and he's like, I'm a big dog. I ain't a little dog. I'm a big dog. Big dog. Big dog. Woof. I'm a big dog. I'm a big dog. I ain't no little dog. Ain't no big dog. I'm like a wolf. I'm a big dog. And he keeps going, like you're saying. It's like the bit never ends. It's like it started as... It reminds me of like when people are on psychedelics and they have a thought loop, and you can see them stuck in it. It's like it hits them, and it was such a powerful idea that they can't separate themselves from the idea. It just goes on for hours. But the thing is, these guys monologue. I consider these monologues because it's no point responding. There's no point in saying anything to these guys. They're already deep in whatever.
Oh yeah, and it's so good when it's comedic like that, and it gives you the ability to laugh at something like that without feeling bad. Because when someone's in that position for real and you want to laugh but you feel bad because they're having a real tough time, you could assume.
Yeah.
But
their tough time's very public.
There was one time I was on the train and I'm minding my business like everyone else does on the train. And this guy starts shouting, all right, right here, right now, right here, right now. He jumps into the air and punches the ground and then walks away.
I'm going to pee again. That's crazy.
Oh, man.
That really happened?
That happened. It was like 10, 15 years ago, something like that. The guy... Oh, man, it was nuts. You see all kinds of stuff on the train. There was one time that the guy just started rapping for me, and we just recorded him, and he's like, yeah, I'm dropping a mixtape. And so I'm like, hey, let me post it, help you sell your mixtape. There's always something fun on the train if it's not scary. Like someone trying to rob you. Yeah, don't have your phone out. Definitely don't want to just be on your phone on the train. But...
Oh, I missed all those, but you know what? I'll hear them in post. Whatever those stories were.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, don't bring your phone on the train like that or have it out.
Why do you say that?
Oh, because someone will snatch it out your hands and run out the door.
Yeah, I got lucky because I got punched on the train. And I had my phone on my lap, and he didn't steal it. He just punched me. He could have stole my phone. I actually got lucky.
Yeah.
I got punched in the face, but at least I didn't get my shit stolen. That's actually a win.
Now, not to sound victim blaming, but why did he punch you in the face?
Dude, it might have been my fault. Okay, here's what happens. I'm sitting on the train. I'm on my way to work. And I got my dad on the phone. I'm talking to my dad on the phone through my headphones, right? I'm just talking to my dad. And I talk quiet on the train. I have my headphone, I have like my mic like this, and I'm talking like this. Like I'm not trying to bother anybody. Yeah. I'm literally talking quiet. I'm not bothering anybody. Like I'm not the guy that's talking full volume.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm being cool. And I'm just making the point that like I wasn't trying to like piss anybody as I'm not being annoying. But this guy's sitting there and it's like, he's on drugs or something going through this monologue type shit. And I know that's what's happening, but I'm just like, keeping an eye on him because I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but I'm on the phone. And so I see him talking at me, but this is the thing is these people are kind of talking through you. Like we were saying, like you don't really know if he's talking to you or through you. And I'm on my headphones, so I'm not really even paying attention to what the fuck he's really saying. And so he just keeps going. And then I remember like I look at this girl so I'm towards the end of the train. I'm sitting here. There's a girl across from me facing towards him because her seats are facing that way. I'm facing the middle of the train. So I see her in front of me and she's looking at him because he's sitting to my right over that way towards the end of the train car. And so I look at her and she looks at me with like this intense look in her eye. And I'm thinking what she's thinking is, oh, this guy's crazy. And I'm thinking like, yeah, he is crazy. But you see this shit all the time. So it's like, okay, whatever. I'm on the phone. I'm trying not to bother anybody. But then he stands up and he walks over to me. And I'm like, oh, like now I realize, this is the moment when I realize, oh, he didn't, he must have internalized me looking at him as some type of thing. Like, I was probably better off looking away. Like, if I would have heard what he was saying, I would have realized, oh, he doesn't want me to look at him. I'm just not going to look at him. But I didn't hear what the fuck he was saying. I wasn't paying attention to that part.
Yeah.
So that's where I fucked up. And so he's in front of me now. He's standing right in front of me, like over me, kind of like leaning over me. And he's saying, like, you're looking at my girls. You're looking at my girls. Like, that must have been what he thought I was. He was talking about the girl that was sitting there. And I must have looked at her. Like, this is all crackhead shit. I looked at the girl, and then I looked at him, and he's already monologuing, and he didn't like that. He probably didn't like I was a white guy, whatever it was. I don't know, because I don't know why it was me. Didn't do shit. But he's talking to me now. And he's right over me, and he says, oh, you looking at my girls? I ought to rock your shit. I ought to rock your shit. And so when he says, I ought to rock your shit, I'm like, oh. So I said, excuse me? I just said, excuse me.
Oh, God. Now listen here, buddy.
I don't know what the fuck to say, because I don't want to be... I'm a nice guy. I'm not trying to... I didn't even know I made this guy mad. I'm thinking I can talk my way out of this. Excuse me? And as soon as I say excuse me, whop! His arm just comes from, like, around. Just whop! Like, he got me good. And I just like, oh, my God. Like, I remember everybody in the train's like, ah! And I'm thinking, I really shouldn't attack this guy because he's on drugs. Like, I've seen people on drugs.
Yeah.
So,
You don't, I mean, if you're not ready for a fight, don't fight.
I'm not going to apprehend this guy right now. Exactly. Like, I've told this story to people, and they're like, wow, you didn't fight back. I'm like, dude, this is a crackhead, okay? He could have had a fucking little switchblade in his pocket for all I know. Why is he punching me? I don't even know this guy. Am I dying for this? So I just I'm lucky he didn't steal my phone, again, because I'm talking to my dad. My dad's on the phone the whole time. So I just had my phone right there on my lap. Like,
your dad just heard you get punched in the face. What'd he say?
Bro, my dad failed this test miserably. Because I remember I'm talking to my dad later. I'm like, Dad, oh my God, did you hear that? He's like, yeah. He's all annoyed. He's annoyed that there was an interruption on the phone call. I'm like trying to tell him, like, I just got punched in the face. He's like, okay. Oh, sure glad to hear that. Jeez. What the fuck? You could at least be a little supportive, Dad. A little bit of, oh, are you okay?
Damn.
He failed. It was completely just like, glad you moved to Chicago, where all the crime is, getting punched on the train.
Oh, he's
Classic
like
Dad.
that. Oh, damn.
Thanks, Dad. Real helpful right now. I told him, I'll call you back later. I immediately was like, I can't talk to you right now. I'll call you back later. I'm going to call someone else.
Damn, yeah.
You're not the person to talk to right now.
No. Shit.
I was like immediately like, oh, I cannot have this. I called my mom. My mom was cool. My mom handled it a little better.
Yeah. Mom seemed to freak out a little more, though.
She was actually cooler. She was more like, oh my God, oh, are you okay? Okay, well, that's not good. Are you not going to work? Okay, well.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. It's a lot better than what Dad said.
Did you see stars? Did you black out?
Yeah. Are you asking me?
I mean, shit.
Because I wasn't sure if you were being my mom in our story. But yeah, I did not see stars. I handled it pretty well because he got me right in the face. And I remember, like, I heard, like, that little sound. I felt that little feeling, like, when you get punched real hard.
Yeah, that thud.
I wasn't, like, dizzy, but I heard, like, a little, whatever that was. I felt it, and I felt like a little, I was worried he might, like, broke my nose because he whopped me. But I just kind of turned my head over, and I'm just like, oh my, what the fuck did I say? Like, I said, Jesus Christ. He's hitting me in the head. I was saying, Jesus Christ. He probably hit me like 3 or 4 times, and then he just ran off. He must have ran off because the train was stopping, thankfully. So it was like at a stop. And that's when it happened. So he probably got off. And then I don't know where he went. But I just remember looking up and he's gone. And so I get up and I get off the train. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus, I'm probably not going to work. Because I'm bleeding out my face. Yeah. And it was just kind of like, all right, well, I got the good end of it. In life, when these things happen to you, okay, this is the lesson of this story for the listeners. When these things happen to you in life, you have to be able to tell this story and just be like, okay, well, what did I do wrong? And how can this not happen again, maybe? And at least it wasn't worse. You know, I survived. Yeah. He could have fucking killed me. He could have killed me if he wanted. I could have been that guy that died on the train that day, and that could have been the end of me. That could have been my life. So that's actually, I got the good end of it.
Yeah,
this guy was a crazy. The other part of the story, I saw him either the next day or 2 days later. I know because it was the same crazy eyes. He had the same eyes, the same guy. And I saw him. He didn't recognize me. He didn't even, like, I was worried. I'm like, oh my God, this fucking guy again. Like, I swear to God, if he goes crazy on me.
Jeez.
He looked me in the eyes, and then he just looked away and kept doing his crazy shit. I'm like, God fucking damn it, dude. And then maybe it confirmed in my brain, I just happened to be the guy in front of him that day that did the wrong thing. I could have been anybody. I was a representation of his inner craziness. It just got unlucky. That's why you sit at the front of the train. That's the other moral of the story. You want to be safer in the city, sit at the front of the train car. It just tends to be better. That's
close to the conductor.
Yeah. Then it's harder to get rocked. Get your shit rocked.
Yeah. But
that happened to me once. And so, what do you think? What's your evaluation? Did I fuck up a little bit?
I mean, definitely had to be a little bit more aware of your surroundings.
That's what I think, yeah.
But, other than that, you can't victim blame yourself for getting punched in the face,
Especially by a crackhead. That's the other part of it. When it's a crackhead, you really can't blame yourself.
Now, I'll admit that the last time I got punched in the face, definitely a little my fault.
Okay, let's hear that story.
I got road rage. So
that's a good start.
So it's not, my road rage ain't so bad anymore, but I was trying to get back to work. I was running behind because I got stuck in the Wendy's drive-thru for too long because I'm a fat ass. But I got stuck in the Wendy's drive-thru and I'm trying to get back to work, and this guy blocks me from leaving the parking lot.
Oh, no.
And he's got all day to turn. There's no cars. He's just blocking me in. I'm shouting out the window, buddy, fucking go. I'm honking my horn. He's not moving. I grab a penny out of my driver's side little compartment thing. I throw the penny and it hits the trunk of his car. He gets out the car. He's like, why the fuck you throw shit in my car? I'm like, fucking move. And he punched me in the face.
Ooh.
And then he ran back to his car and drove off. And I fucking chased him. I drove like 60 miles an hour down the street, weaving through cars to chase after him. And finally he blew through a red light and nearly got into an accident, but got away. And I just turned left and went to work. I got a picture of his driver's, of his license plate and the make of his car. Called the cops. Fuck the police, but sometimes you got to call the cops. But then, they filed the report. They're like, yeah, we're not going to really be able to do much. They looked up his license plate. They go, it's to a Toyota. I'm like, that wasn't a fucking Toyota. I got the picture right here. You could tell it's not a Toyota. They're like, yeah, I don't know. We're probably not going to find him, but we'll bring it in. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I did what I could. Hopefully they catch him and I can identify him later or something. But even so, at this point, even if they brought him, I wouldn't ID him because I don't remember what he looks like. And I'm not going to just have some black guy with dreads get taken away because I'm upset. There's too many people that do that shit where it's like, I don't know what they look like other than being a certain race. And then you get some other random person who fit the description locked up because you picked them out of the lineup.
Yeah. And at a certain point, your memory fails. At a certain point, your memory is just not perfect.
Now, if they had gotten him within the day, I would have remembered what that guy looked like.
Yeah, you need like a dash cam and stuff like that for that type of stuff. That's really why they exist. Like that's when you see like the videos of cops punching people, like cops punching.
Oh
people.
yeah.
That you wouldn't even. It would be your word against the cop's word unless you had that camera in the car filming at the time. I mean, cops get mad when you film them, but literally that's kind of the point. It's like when that stuff goes down, you need it on a camera.
Yeah, but for me, my part where I fucked up was I threw the penny.
Oh, yeah. Well, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
See, the problem with road rage is that, like, generally speaking, if you go with the flow of life and you just let the person do whatever they're going to do, no matter what, you're like, you accept the circumstances, they're driving the way they are, it's not something I can change. Because if you do too much and you piss somebody off, they could be way crazier than you. That's the part you learn. They could be, however crazy you think you are, they could be that times 10.
Yeah.
You followed him. They might have followed you all the way home, and they would have brought out their gun from the car, said, hey, why'd you follow me? Well, I'm going to follow you now. Like, they stop in the middle of somewhere, and then they don't get out. It could be a crazy, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre type situation. They could literally be a serial killer. You
never know. You never know. But, I mean, when it comes down to it, you know, it's like in Dudeism, you got the Dude and you got Walter. And Walter in the movie is the representation of road rage, all the rage, all of the darkness and the shitty behavior. You know, this is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass, Larry. You know, smashing the wrong car. You know, you let your frustrations get the better of you, and that's Walter. And I became Walter at that moment. You know, I was not being very Dude.
Not being very Dude.
I was not being very Dude.
And that's not very Dude of you, man. You could be more Dude, and recognizing that is the mature thing.
It is. And the last time I had a almost road rage thing was a couple weeks ago, but I behaved Dude. I was very Dude. The guy was cutting people off on the right, driving through the parking section to cut people off. And I pulled up next to him, and I said, why are you driving like that, man? He goes, what do you mean? I said, why are you weaving through cars and pulling up on the right and cutting people off? He goes, oh, because people are on their phones and I'm trying to get to work. I go, buddy, we're all trying to get to work. We're all in the same boat, and doing that to get to work a minute earlier but risking an accident and fucking with people isn't going to help. And he's like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, quit driving like a dick. He's like, you're right. I haven't thought about it. Oh, the other thing I said, I asked him, you think you're better than everyone? Is that why you try to cut people? And then after the whole thing, he goes, I don't think I'm better than anyone, okay? I'm like, is that what you're really getting out of it? I mean, he must have had a coming to Jesus moment at that point where he's like, I'm not better than anyone.
Yeah.
I'm just a man.
Yeah. You know, isn't that interesting? I think that when you take experiences like those and you look at them in such a way, it's a much more nuanced way to think about it. Because you could have taken away from that too, like, oh, this asshole cutting through traffic, fuck this guy. But instead, you saw it as a teaching moment for the guy. Like, you can show this guy something that he's not seeing. That's a nice way to look at it.
I mean, I asked him, why are you driving like that? He could have gave me an answer of just saying something like, fuck you, or he could have even had a real answer, maybe, like...
it's what I said about asking the right questions. Like, that you're asking him the right question. Because I think when you ask the right question, it plants a seed in somebody that makes them think about it in a way they might not have done, right?
Absolutely.
He has to think now, why the fuck am I doing that? Why am I doing that? It's important. Like, you can't do that on your own. I think, like, when people talk about therapy and good therapy, I think the greatest therapy is asking the perfect questions in people.
Yes.
To get them... if you can ask the right question to someone, that is so therapeutic because it forces a perspective on them that they might need. You know, that's a hard thing to do. I think it's really like, it's an art form. It's like something that's, I did interviews before I did anything else and it's what we said about collaboration and all that. It really just enlightened me. Like, okay, so if I really take an interest in what people do and I ask them questions about it, you see people light up. You really see it. You see it in, like, right in front of you. Like, when I did interviews, I did this thing called 60 Seconds With. So it was a whole concept. And the only reason I don't do it anymore is because it takes so long. It's kind of like when you do a podcast clip, except it's like we have a whole however long interview. I'm showing up, I'm doing a full interview of you.
Yeah.
And then I cut it down to a 60 seconds interview. I'm just cutting it down to the very most important things. And then I got a little bit of B-roll of you. I got a little bit of something else. And this was back in probably almost 10 years ago now. Can't really remember. No, not 10. Maybe 6 years ago. And so that's the whole idea. And what I learned through doing that is all you really got to do is look at what someone does for about, if you haven't seen it before, if it's somebody you just met on the internet, you need to take literally 20, 30 minutes. Just look at what they do, take a couple deeper things, think of, like go to their YouTube, see if they got anything on YouTube, go to their Instagram, then just think about, okay, well, what is this person like trying to do with this? Like, what is the idea of this? And then ask a question about that. And when you do that, they're excited you even looked at their thing on YouTube, because a lot of these people are smaller artists. They're not even used to that. So that alone, just being able to do that and seeing how that works, because people get really excited. And that applies to most things. It's like if you can take that energy and that idea and then make sure, like when you see somebody do a stand-up set, think, oh, that's the joke I liked. This is what stands out about this person. I'm going to mention that to them. I'm going to walk up to them and say, hey, I like that thing you said about this. I wanted to say to you, I like that joke you had about being all fresh out of pussy.
Oh, shit.
I like that joke.
Dude, and the craziest thing is that happened. Yeah. That actually happened to me. Crazy shit happens to me all the time. You'll hear it on Tuesday if you show up, but I'm telling a story. So, pretty privilege is a very, very real thing. And I got a friend, Crystal, coworker. She's beautiful. She looks like another Kardashian, basically. And we're driving, picking up some lunch, and driving back to work. And she's got expired tags on her car. She blew through a stop sign and was going 10 miles over the speed limit. Cop pulls her over. Says to her, do you know why I pulled you over? She bats her eyelashes and only says, yeah. The cop takes her info, comes back, and goes, I'm going to give you a warning this time, okay? Just don't do it again. Get your tags fixed, okay? She broke 3 laws and got a warning. I went 10 miles over the speed limit in Indiana in Amish country. No one is there. It is an empty backroads street. I'm going 45 in a 35, might have been 30, I don't know. But I'm going like 10, 15 over. The cop pulls me over. I had just gotten 2 cases of Amish bakery donuts. And the cop pulls me over and he comes to the window. He goes, you know why I pulled you over? I look at the donuts. I look at the cop. I look at the donuts again. I look back at the cop. I go, because you wanted one of these? The cop looks at the donuts. He looks back at me. He goes, I'm on a diet. Of course, I run into the one cop in Indiana who's on a diet. Gabriel Iglesias said if I could make the cop laugh and gave him donuts, that I could get away with it. Gabriel lied to me. Fluffy lied.
Oh, man.
True story, too. True stories.
He was on a diet.
I offered cop donuts. He said no. These are the best donuts ever. Amish people know how to make good donuts.
Yeah, that's kind of unfair. Life didn't really give you the good hand that day.
No.
Amish people do make good donuts, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
How do they do it? Is it just that they're stuck inside all day, not using the internet? They just get really good at stuff like that.
I think it's because, they perfected the old-fashioned way of making donuts.
The original way.
The original way. I mean, donuts, I'm sure, used to be better than they are now, especially compared to Dunkin'. But
oh, yeah. If you ever go to, like, a real bakery and you see a real donut, you're like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot what donuts were.
Exactly.
It's actually completely different. Like, Dunkin's, like, the most basic. It's the McDonaldization of a donut.
And don't get me wrong. I fuck with the blueberry cake donut from Dunkin'.
Yeah.
But comparatively to, like, an Amish bakery donut, you're not getting that same quality. Mm-hmm. No, sir.
It's kind of sad. Because I think most people have the wrong idea. Like, I really didn't know until I went to these local bakeries around here. And I was like, oh, my God. Pastries are, like, a thing. Pastries are amazing.
Oh,
I'd never really had that in my life. I was literally missing out on it my whole life.
What's your go-to pastry?
Really, dude? I just like well, I don't know. I like those donuts that are probably a custard-filled donut.
Yeah,
Something
those
about
are
that.
good.
Yeah.
For me, it's a cheese Danish all the way.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. It's been a minute since I've had. I haven't had that at a real bakery either. I bet it's amazing.
Oh God, even the Costco ones are good.
I know. That's what I'm thinking of is the shitty ones I've had. So if you had like a real one, I bet it's incredible.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm eating like the knockoff cereal version, and I love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, even the Costco ones are good. I mean, I'll even fuck with those little pre-packaged ones you get in the vending machine. You know, but
That's what I'm thinking of.
oh yeah.
Those.
I mean, those are they're not good, but they're the best. You know, I'll pick them over. I don't know. Actually, I think I fuck with the cinnamon roll one too. They're both good.
Yeah.
They're both good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a stoner. I fuck with cheap shit.
That's part of Dudeism. You have to enjoy the $1 pastries.
Exactly.
It's what the dude would do.
And you got to enjoy the $1 pastry as much as you enjoy the big ones, the $10 pastry.
That's a good way to look at it. You know, like it's good to learn value, but it's also good to learn that there is a value beyond money. There is a value to things beyond the understanding of like a dollar amount. Like it's really not about that. That's just a part of the value that we assign to it. But like the value of a moment is so much more than like when you go to a concert. That's an invaluable thing. It's really you can't even really put a price on going to a concert because it's something else entirely kind of. That's like what I was saying about the subconscious. I think you need those things in life. You have to go to concerts. You have to live and experience the moment in a different way that you identify with. That's because it's enlightening. A great concert is like, whoa, I'll never forget when I went to Lollapalooza in 2009.
Oh, yeah. 2009 Lollapalooza was a nuts festival for me, for sure. You know, getting high at Snoop Dogg and Asheroth and Depeche Mode, Tool, Jane's Addiction. It was a great show. Great 3 days. And this is one of the coolest parts. I don't think I told you this part of the story.
Okay.
So, 2009 January, I go see Slipknot, Trivium, Coheed and Cambria at the Allstate Arena. I had just gotten out of the psych ward right before. So this was a big deal to me because I had just lost my will to live. And then my little sibling's like, how about this concert? And I'm like, I have a will to live again.
Nice.
So I go to this show and we got like not bad seats, but it's at the very back of the arena. So it's, you know, you're not seeing what you want to see up close on stage. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I want to be in the pit. So I approach this girl and I go, can I get your wristband so I can go in the pit? She goes, yeah. She gets a new wristband. I get hers. I end up going back and forth between the pit and my brother and little sibling in the seats. While I'm in the pit, I bump into these guys that look like knockoff Jay and Silent Bob. And I tell them, you guys look like Jay and Silent Bob. They're like, thanks. We appreciate that. We're best friends too. And I'm like, that's awesome. We start hanging out. We're vibing. We're telling each other stories. We're rocking out. And then all of a sudden, this guy in the pit drops his pants to his ankles, whips his dick out, jumps on the ground, and starts pissing all over everybody. And I hide behind this big dude, and he gets piss all over him. I get a little on my shoes, but this guy got pissed on. Like, and you know, you'd rather be pissed off than pissed on for sure, but this guy was both. So, Jay and Silent Bob knock off and at me. We're like, what the fuck just happened? big guy covered in piss just starts beating the shit out of pantsless Joe Jackson over here. And he's just beating the shit out of him until security comes and takes the both of them away. And we're just like, let's walk away from this piss puddle, okay? Now, back to Lollapalooza. After the third day of this show, Just Leave Jane's Addiction, I'm riding high, you know. I just smoked, I don't know how many joints. I'm fucked up. All of a sudden, I'm leaving the place. Two guys run up to me and hug me. It's Jay and Silent Bob. The same guys from the Slipknot show.
Uh-huh.
They found me, and we're all hugging and dancing and jumping around, and random strangers are coming in and group hugging until finally there's like 15 people hugging me. I don't know almost any of them except for Jay and Silent Bob here. We're just having a big group hug fest. Like, how did you find me again? I don't know, but I recognized you. And I'm just like, this is insane. And then we split up and never saw each other again. But those two moments where we bumped into each other, incredible moments.
Yeah.
Incredible moments. Great things happen when you meet Jay and Silent Bob lookalikes.
Yeah. It really, like, it sticks out in your mind as, like, you know, one of those key moments of your life, you know. When I met Jay and Silent Bob the second time, I was a different man than the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe when I meet them the third time, it'll be different than both of those two.
It's been, you know, 15 years since then. I don't know if they still look the same.
Maybe they wouldn't look like Jay and Silent Bob anymore. So you'd be
maybe.
Like, wait,
I mean, 15 years later, they were probably in their 30s. There got to be, you know, 45, 50, you know, getting close to 50 now. I would hope they don't still look like Jay and Silent Bob. I would hope they probably cleaned up a little bit. But if they do, there's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not planning on cleaning up when I'm old either.
Yeah, I kind of respect it if they do. It's like, okay, you found your thing.
Oh, yeah.
Found your thing early.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm still going to have my ears stretched. I'm still going to have tattoos. I'm still going to have my long hair and backwards baseball caps, hoping I have my long hair.
Yeah.
Got to keep that shit.
Yeah.
But, no, I'm not going to change who I look just because I get older. This is definitely me.
Sometimes I think about that. I'm like, man, I'm going to get older one day. Like, will I still be able to be as cool as I am now? Like, I have a certain way of being. When I'm like 50, can I still do that? Or am I going to be like, oh, like boring and shit? Am I going to be that guy that's 50 and it's like boring? Because I don't want to be that guy. I want to always maintain, like, as a rapper even, you see that. You see rappers get older and then their music, it's like harder. Like Eminem. I love Eminem, but the music he makes now is so different than what he made 20 years ago. And it makes me think, like, can you always be the 20-year-old Eminem forever? Maybe not. Maybe that doesn't work when you're 45.
No.
Maybe there's something strange to that. You have to evolve in some way that's different.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. When it comes to your craft, you got to move with the times. But when it comes to who you are, you got to make sure that you feel timeless.
Yes. And what you are is timeless. Like, that's why I have a song where I think I really like the way the hook goes. Because it's like, ain't nobody gonna take it away. I swear no one can tell me nothing. God's got no explaining to do. Dun, dun, dun. If you told me how to say, if you explain, I could fake it and love it. There's no me if I'm basically you. And it's just that line. There's no me if I'm basically you. And that's the beautiful part of it, is what you are and what you can be. It's good that you're not anything else. Like, you shouldn't be upset that you're so different than people. If you are, you should be happy you're different than people and embrace that and use that, because that's what you are.
The other crazy thing, that as much as individuality as you may get for yourself, the thing that you always remember is you're the culmination of everyone in your life.
Yeah.
So as much as originality as you become, as much as timeless as you can be, you are everything that it put into you. Everything and everyone that put life into you, that put thoughts, that put trauma and grief and joy. You're the culmination of all that shit, man.
Mm-hmm. And you can't avoid it. It's like an inevitable
Never.
thing. Yeah. It's why, again, like asking the right questions and getting to the bottom of things is so good, because it's cathartic for people in this way to even remember and explain it. And like when you ask them, why do you like this? And what do you do this for? And stuff like that. They don't get asked that all the time. So when you ask people these questions, it helps them remember. Like, and you have to remember. You have to think about it. Like, where does that come from? Like, you know, the reason you like things starts at some point. The reason that you become what you are starts from some experience, some place that just mattered, or it festered in your brain, and you can pinpoint it. If you really think about it, a lot of the time you can actually go back and find it.
Yeah, someone or something inspires you. I was in kindergarten and I saw my teacher's son with a Liberty Spike mohawk, eyebrow piercings and tattoos, wearing a spiked denim jacket. Total punk. And I went, that.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, and that was cool.
And since then, I've been a punk. I used to be seen, like I had the hair swoop and everything. You know, I've evolved my looks all the time, just until I've realized lately who I am is a long-haired dude with the backwards cap.
Yeah, yeah, and that's cool, and that can be cool.
Oh yeah, you know the origin of the backwards cap? It's pretty funny. Some dude tried to kiss his girlfriend, bumped her in the face with the brim, said, "Hold on a sec," turned it around, and some guy goes, "Ooh, that's cool."
Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I tell my girlfriend that.
I believe it. I believe it. She's like, that doesn't look cool, and you're like, let me explain why it is cool. Let me tell you exactly why it is cool, because it's scientifically cool.
It's literally the reason I don't hurt you when I kiss you now.
Yeah. You can't be upset about it. It's literally the reason.
I mean, shit.
It should be sexy to you.
Exactly. I mean, what was it? Fred Durst did it, and Limp Bizkit. That was inspirational. I had a cousin named Geza. He had a long hair and a backwards hat. That's definitely where I get a lot of it from. He was a big inspiration to me. Snowboarding, you know, I was a snowboarder. He was a snowboarder. You know, he moved to Spain or Hungary. I can't remember, but he's from Hungary. And my grandmother found him. He was a long lost relative. And my grandmother found him on a travel and got him to come to Chicago. And he'd been living here for a long time, but right before the pandemic, he left and went back home because he was too homesick of being away from Europe. And since then, he's like, yeah, I'm not coming back to America. It's too crazy over there right now. You got Donald Trump going on. I ain't coming back for Trump. So, I mean, we got Biden now, but Trump's still running, which is insane.
I think it's all insane. I think it's all emblematic. The way I try to look at it all is like when you focus on the people and the names, you kind of lose sight of the bigger picture, because the whole thing is just so crazy. Like the fact that the way that we consider these things compared to like what we thought 10 years ago about politics and 15 years ago, it's hard to even take it completely serious for other countries when they look at, and it's also just, I think it's all ultimately emblematic of like, if you were somebody who's in power and you wanted to kind of like make the story simpler than what it really is. Like, let's say I'm really, what I'm all about is war. What I really, all I want to do is just start wars all over the place. If that's what I'm trying to do, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm actually going to make you think about all this other stuff and like try to like misdirect everything Like, it's exactly what you'd think you would do. And I remember when I was a kid and I would look at other countries like North Korea and think, that's wild. Like, that exists. And the older and older I get, the more I look at America and I'm like, you know what? We're not that different. Like, the way that people think and the way that people get so caught in politics, it's sad because if you just talk to people, there's so much deeper than that. And there's so much more to things. But you can get caught up on the dumbest shit like politics, and then you can never be friends with somebody because of something they said about something. It's like, bro, there's so much more to life than what somebody thinks about this one topic. I guarantee you, we can connect in so many ways.
It's true, but then there's like the matter of when that one topic is like whether or not someone is a human being or deserves rights.
Yeah, but how do you show them though? Like, if you're the person who's the teacher, the educator, and you want to help them, you want to help everyone, you want a better world, and you're the dude, how do you dude your way into that? How do you help that person? That's what I mean, you know?
I try my best at work because I work with some Republicans, and I talk to them, I talk it through with them, and we have deep conversations that give them the conclusion that they're actually a socialist.
Exactly.
You know? Exactly. I got one coworker where he goes, I don't understand why housing is so expensive and food is so expensive. These things should be free and accessible to everyone. But then he's going to vote for Donald Trump.
But the thing is, though, ultimately you agree on the basics, kind of like you said. Like, ultimately, if you were to get down to the bottom of it, and you were to really say, what do we want?
We all want the same thing.
Wants are about the same, yeah. It's really about how you achieve it. And I think, like, when it comes to Trump, it's tough because on the face of it, he represents something, but he's just like any politician deep down in the end, where if you really study, you really look at the decisions he makes, it would be surprising if he follows through with the things that he says, because he says things.
He's a politician on steroids is what it is to me. Because a politician will make an empty promise, but at least feign like, oh, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be fantastic, and I'm never going to do it.
I'll never forget when
people are stupid.
He ran on Drain the Swamp. He said Drain the Swamp. And then after that, he went on a stage. He said, we said Drain the Swamp, but really, when we said that, we just wanted you to cheer. Everybody cheered. We said Drain the Swamp. They cheered. It was fantastic. We're done with that now. We're moving forward. Like, he literally said that. Basically, he said, we only said Drain the Swamp to get votes on a stage in front of his supporters. And in a way...
And then they cheer.
In a way, it's actually impressive to me because I'm like, wow, that's where we're at. You can just say that. You can go up there and literally just say that. And it's like his personality is just so strong that that's why he can get away with that. Because, I mean, I don't know what's going on.
It's the demagogue perception of it all, you know. He had such a cult following before he was president, which was nuts to me. Like, I had a friend who was one of those cult followers. Mm-hmm. And thank God he got out of it by the time he became in politics.
Do you think that, like, that exists on both sides, though? Because I think that happens on both sides. And it's hard to see when you're also, like, you know, anybody can idolize anything and, like, put an idea in this place in their head. I think it's, like, again, the subconscious. You have these positions in your mind of good and evil and left or right and good and bad. And that just becomes a classification.
I see it. The thing that I see more so is on the right, this is black and white. This guy's good, this guy's evil. On the furthest end of the left, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. The centrists don't give a fuck about anyone rather than just saying everyone should get their, taken care of. But in the end, like in the left will have purity tests and cannibalize themselves in a way that the right does not do. Mm-hmm. The right-wingers will collaborate on their demagogue. They will not let up. And on the far left, they'll say something like, well, you didn't use the correct language, so I don't think that you're truly on the left with me. And it pushes people out, and it's scary because the left is the side of human rights. And
yeah,
it drives people away because they want everyone to have rights so much so that they're willing to make everything hell just to make sure that everyone can feel okay, but no one's going to feel okay because we're all walking on eggshells now.
Yeah, it's in comedy especially. It's just antithetical to like it to me. If it's all connected and we have this ultimate philosophy, like I like to think of the rules of improv kind of apply to everything, including comedy and including music and including thought. And it's like, if I want you to grow, I have to yes and you. I have to find a way to take whatever you're saying, no matter how crazy it is, and find a way to make it make sense and help you go the right way. That's what improv is. Yeah. It's like whatever the idea is that you put on that stage, that you come up with in that moment, I can't deny it. I have to go with it. No matter how crazy or how wrong it is, I have to go with it. Yeah. And I think that's like the best way to pull people. Because how else? Like if somebody's saying the wildest shit, like, like I always say, I will vote for Kanye. That's what I say.
Oh, God.
I will vote for Kanye. Because that guy yes hands everything. And I love him. I will always love Kanye no matter what. It's impossible. But, like, that's a radical thought, I guess. But you got to have radical thought. You have to have radical thinkers sometimes. And sometimes when you yes and those guys, you get the craziest ideas. And like comedians, you can't not have that in the comedy world. You have to have the comedian go up there, say some wild shit, and sometimes it's that wildest shit you wouldn't even imagine would work. Yeah. That just happens to work perfectly, and you have to take those chances. If you don't yes and people, you don't have that improv mentality. If you don't yes and yourself, and you go on stage, you're like, oh, I can't say that. It gets a lot harder, and so it's like you have to apply that thinking to everything in a way.
It's like the Helen Keller joke I told. The part of it where I'm not proud of is the Skeletor voice part. I tried to clean it up and not do too much of a deaf sounding voice, but it's like, that's part of the punchline, and it sucks because it's punching down at deaf people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if Jake Peter gave me his approval, then maybe it's not so bad.
I've got a deaf friend. It's okay.
But also, it's like, it doesn't work that way. Some people get offended, some people don't. And what it comes down to at the end of the purity test is, how strict are you about these things? Like, there's a difference between like you have to use only gender neutral pronouns when telling this joke versus don't make fun of deaf people.
Right, of course.
And it's like, I don't want to make fun of deaf people. I just want to do that Helen Keller joke, which in and of itself is offensive to deaf people if they knew I was telling it.
Yeah.
It also could offend someone who just knows someone who's deaf. And the part of it is like that I've come to learn is there's a punch up and a punch down in comedy. Uh-huh. And in the 80s, 90s, people were punching down a lot, making fun of people who were marginalized more than making fun of like the rich or celebrities, or non-marginalized people. And over the years, you've seen it change a lot. And we don't, the young people, millennial and younger, we don't accept this kind of comedy anymore that punches down. There's some of them that do, and that's the edgelord people and whatnot. But punching down just isn't funny anymore. Like you make a joke about how Jeff Bezos has a penis-shaped head, and how he always looks like he's giving someone the stink eye. But then you're like, he's got an eye disorder, dude. You can't say that. And it's like, but it's Jeff Bezos. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Dude's got more money than God himself. You can make fun of Jeff.
Now, my idea, though, is, does it go against that improv mentality to say punching down is punching down? Like, if I am to classify what your joke is as going for the wrong thing, am I not saying no but, right? Like, am I not yes-anding you? And that's my problem, ultimately. Is like, if I have this yes-and mentality, how can I have a problem with this certain joke? When, like, ultimately, maybe I could find some humor in that joke if I really look for it. They're ultimately joking. They're trying to make a joke.
You still, so like the whole thing is there's still humor in it.
Yeah.
People are still going to find the Helen Keller jokes funny. But for the people that don't, you may not be their cup of tea, but also you have to take into consideration that is your audience.
Yeah.
And if your audience is trying to listen to you and they want to like you, but because of the things that you're saying, they can't like you now.
Yeah, it's a pretty big problem.
So that's why it's like, it's not PC culture. It's literally just appealing to the masses.
And it's finding that moment. It's finding what you are in that moment. Because, like what those people are in that room, if you can't catch it, how are you ever going to catch any room? Like, you have to find a way to figure that out. Like, whatever it is in the air, you have to find it. I think music makes it easy for me because it's like, I can just create it. I can make it from scratch. With comedy, it's different because you have to kind of meet them where they're at a little bit more.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why most of my jokes are more like clever puns than like trying to be observational or stories about myself. I'll tell plenty of stories. And one of the things that I just got to do is distill them into a much easier to tell fashion for the stage. But, there's one of the comedians that goes up and he says, his name's Haji Outlaw. And you've probably seen him there a couple times. But
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. He has this one joke where he thinks cocaine's the best drug because you always get a good cocaine story. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not going to spoil his joke. That's his joke. But he talks about how cocaine gives you the best stories. And cocaine has given me one of the best stories that I got. If you want to hear it.
Of course. Let's close the podcast on your greatest cocaine story of all time.
All right. It's a bit of a doozy, but bear with me. So, after I'd split up with my ex-wife, I was dating around again, and I was dating this paralegal. And she takes me to a birthday party of one of her coworkers, a bunch of lawyers. And I'm like, oh, man, stuffy old lawyers. This is going to be fucking boring. This was the most drinking I've ever seen anybody do. Lawyers get fucked up, dude. So we go to this.
All the lawyers are like, yes, somebody who knows.
So we go to this gay couple's home, in like I think it was like just west of Boys Town, and they have this incredible like 3-level condo with a bar in the back, and there's like 20, 30 people in this place. We're all getting trashed. The birthday boy is breaking champagne flute after champagne flute. He is dropping every glass he has, getting shit-faced. And we're all sitting on the bench having drinks. I'm smoking weed because I don't drink too much, but I have like 2. And I'm smoking, and the guy comes up to me, one of the hosts, he goes, do you guys have any cocaine? I go, nah, I wish, dude. Turns to the guy next to me, this guy named Danny. He goes, do you have any cocaine? Because Danny apparently always has cocaine. And Danny's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm out this time. So we're all just chilling after that. The dude who asked for cocaine, his name was coincidentally also Danny. And so the homeowner, Danny.
Double D's.
Yeah. So the homeowner Danny and his boyfriend, they're going back and forth like almost bickering while we're all talking like, oh, the pandemic's been so hard, we've been putting on weight, grabbing each other's tummies and whatnot, going like, we keep going to Domino's across the street, that's so bad. And then as soon as Danny walks away, boyfriend Danny, the other guy, he goes, he has a fake butt. He got a BBL. So from this point on, I will refer to the Danny as BBL Danny. So BBL Danny finds me later on in this party and finds other Danny and goes, guys, come with me. come to the basement with me. So we go down to the basement. He takes us to a room, closes the door. He goes, I found cocaine. Oh boy. So we're cutting it up. We're doing some lines. And then BBL Danny goes, all right, guys, let's see who has the biggest dick.
Had he already done some cocaine before this?
Oh, I mean, this was not my first rodeo, but this was like the craziest. So
okay.
he's like, let's see who's got the biggest dick.
Okay.
And other Danny goes, no, I'm fucking out. Walks out the room. BBL Danny locks the door and gets between me and the door.
All right.
I'm trapped in this room. He drops trow, starts beating his meat. I'm standing in the corner like, what the fuck?
You got Louis C.K., man.
I'm like, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? Okay. I get a knock on the door. It's the girl I'm seeing. She goes, what's going on? He pulls his pants up so fast. He goes, quick, pretend we're doing cocaine. I'm like, what do you think we're doing in here? We're doing cocaine. You're the one trying to beat your schmeat. So
to him, that's doing coke. To him, that's the method. Right?
Oh yeah. So we go
Doesn't
in.
everybody do this?
And I was bigger, but that's besides the point. So she comes in. We all start doing lines, and after about the third line that I do, I'm fucked up, and then BBL Danny's boyfriend starts pounding on the door. He's going fucking bananas. Get the fuck out! Everybody get the fuck out! Ah! I've had it! I fucking had it! He's having a complete meltdown. We get out. We're like, I'm so sorry. He's like, it's okay. I'm sorry. He's not supposed to be doing cocaine. He's been 2 years sober. BBL Danny was 2 years sober, and he just fucking dropped the cocaine on us because we were at this party. I couldn't believe it.
If he was trying that hard...
Well, not sober, just cocaine sober.
I was going to say, I don't even know, man. If he was trying that hard to get coke and he was that upfront about it, I bet you he's one of those guys who says, I'm 2 years sober, when really he's 2 years sober. He did coke 2 months ago, but that doesn't count.
Whatever it was. Buddy was...
He sounds like he was a man on a mission from the beginning of the story.
He really was. And the thing is... the boyfriend's just so pissed off. Wasn't supposed to do coke.
Yeah, because when you're with somebody who's trying not to do drugs, it's a hard thing for you.
Oh yeah. And so he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm bipolar. I didn't want to be exploding like this, but I'm tired." And this, everyone was supposed to leave and go bar hopping at like 10, and it was like 2 a.m. at this point. So I understand he wanted to get to fucking bed.
Yeah,
and no one was leaving his home.
And who knows what his life is normally like, right? Like, is that the normal situation, or is this like a crazy night for him,
I assumed it was a crazy night, but we go upstairs, and birthday boy is so fucking drunk that they have him wrapped up in a garbage bag with his head poking out and another garbage bag around his neck so he could just keep throwing up into it. He's projectile vomiting nonstop. And
the life of a rock star.
They had 4 big burly bears carrying him down the steps. Oh, it was also his twin sister's birthday, but no one gave a fuck. It was nuts.
It's all about him.
It was all about him. So they're taking him out to his sister's car, and then this is where it gets nutty for me. Another car comes barreling through and smashes the door and the mirror on the sister's car. She gets she gets out of the way in time, doesn't get hurt, but she goes, fuck, that's so and so, my arch nemesis. I don't remember the name, so I'm saying so and so. But she goes, that's my arch nemesis. I'm like, what the fuck? An arch nemesis?
Yeah.
Are you fucking Batman? I'm on the biggest fucking coke high I've ever been on. My heart is beaten out of my chest, and somebody just told me they had an arch nemesis. I'm fucking terrified right now.
You ever hang out with somebody and you feel like you're in like the middle of season 2, episode 6 of their life? Like you just stepped into like something you don't even know half the characters. Like that's what that night sounds like to me. It's like you just watched a TV show you've never seen before, and there's all these like you had no idea it went this deep. It was like you do the coke and then immediately everything gets so complicated all of a sudden.
And oh my God. And my biggest regret with that whole night was that BBL Danny tried to give me his info, and I said no.
And you just said no directly, just no.
Yeah,
Sorry.
just because, like, I thought he was trying to get with me again.
Oh.
And I realized later that I should have taken it because Buddy was rich. I could have had a fucking bag, dude.
Yeah, could have been a sugar daddy.
I mean, no. Buddy sexually assaulted me.
Well, yeah.
I could have had a bag from that case. I could have had a case.
I thought you were trying to expand upon that.
Oh, no.
Hey, I'll stay in the room as long as you give me a couple thousand every time.
No, thank you. No. That was a little much.
I guess we went 2 different directions on that one.
Look, just because he had a BBL doesn't mean that I was interested. I may like big butts, and I cannot lie, but I will deny.
Different strokes for different folks, okay?
Yeah. No, not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm a little bi, but I'm not like, I can't fuck.
I could never. I've made jokes about having a sugar daddy or a sugar mama. Even I think the lover in me would like wither away. I couldn't handle it. I'd be like, oh, but they don't like me for who I am. They like me for my BBL. You know, that's all they want me for.
Yeah.
So as we close this out, give the people something they can remember you by. Like, where are they going to find you on Instagram? You want to leave them with the final message?
So,
this is your moment.
You can follow me on Instagram. I'm the Rabbi Dude. On TikTok, just Rabbi Dude. You can buy my books on Amazon. The series is called Poetry for Sad People by Ethan Cohen. Got 4 books out now, and if you are patient enough, in December we have the big sad book. This guy is going to come out in December. It's a nice hardcover. Everything I've written in 2024, about 400 plus poems. Ultimate divination book if you want it, you know. And if you want to collaborate on anything, I'm always happy to.
And where do they find you if they're looking you up? They just type that. They can find the book like that. Ethan Cohen on social media.
You can find
Rabbi Dude on social media.
On Rabbi Dude on social media. Ethan Cohen on Amazon. I got links in my bios to the book. If you want, just find me on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok. It's all Rabbi Dude.
All right. Rabbi Dude, thank you for being here. It was a fantastic episode.
Thank you.
Really. Dude. Oh, we'll dap one hand, pound it in the other. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Wow, I've never done that before with anybody.
Double. Yeah, there you go.
We just doubled it up. Double D's. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Ruse Radio. Clocking out.
Got the world in my pocket, got a girl on my arm, got an eye in my socket, whirlwinds in my palms. I'm a free man, let me lead you along. I can show you something different, let me sing you a song. Ain't no algorithm touch me, ain't no palace this lovely. I find a way to find a way out.